Welcome to the next video in this series where I show you the most efficient ways to perform any exercise so you can maximize your time in the gym. Today we're talking about the pull-up and the chin-up, which I believe are better than lat pull-downs by miles. More on that later in the video. But first, let's maximize your pull-up, starting from the top. You want to start with your head facing forward. You see, there are these muscles called the levator scapula that attach from the top of the shoulder blades and insert on the neck. They act to extend the neck and elevate the shoulders. When you're doing the pull-up, you want your shoulder blades to go down and in, not up and out. If your neck is flexed and these muscles are tight, they pull up the shoulder blades, throwing off the most ideal mechanics during a pull-up. That means the joint stress and load has to go somewhere else, and it could result in some pain. If your neck is too extended, it could kick these levator scapula on, and that could inhibit the mechanics as well. So it's best to keep your head and eyes forward. You can place your hands around shoulder width apart. Any wider and this shortens the lats before you begin the movement, which isn't ideal for building muscle and strength. If they are too close, the shoulders will go into extension instead of adduction, which isn't bad, but it can be funky for some and the arms tend to take over instead of the lats doing their job. You want to wrap your thumbs around your fingers for a better grip. Some people use a false grip to feel their lats better, but the mind-muscle connection isn't necessary nor better for muscle growth. Besides, you have a more secure grip when wrapping all the way around. Contrary to most exercises, you want your wrist to be in a little bit of flexion instead of just neutral. Having more flexion allows you to anchor your wrists more and also gives you better leverage to pull from, so your grip is less of a limiting factor. If your wrist was in neutral, your grip would be more likely to slip out. Your torso should be in a neutral position and your core nice and tight. A lot of people don't realize that the lats attach to the pelvis, so whatever happens with your torso affects your lats. In this case, arching your low back can shorten the lats of the pelvis, which can decrease the amount of force you use and limit how much you get from the exercise. I would recommend keeping at least a natural curve in your low back by keeping your core nice and tight. You can flatten your low back to stretch the lats out at the pelvis, but I don't believe this will make a huge difference. Keep your legs from swinging by squeezing your glutes and your quads the entire time. I also like to keep my ankles dorsiflexed or bring your toes in towards your shins to keep things consistent and to help the quads stay squeezed. Initiate the pull-up by pulling your shoulder blades down and then completing the pull-up. This allows your shoulder blades to help out with the movement, improving the strength and mechanics of your pull-ups. You also want to think about pulling your elbows towards your hips instead of muscling through with the biceps. Of course, your biceps will help, but you want most of the focus to be on your lats, especially when lowering. Lower under control, thinking about gum between your elbows and hips that is slowly being stretched apart. The chin-up is pretty similar to the pull-up, but I like to place more emphasis on how you get yourself up to the bar. Let me explain. Like I mentioned before with the pull-up, the biceps will contribute to the movement, and you want to try to maximize the contribution of the lats. With the chin-ups, it's much easier. That's because one of the lats' main functions is to extend the shoulder. When you perform a chin-up, your shoulder is going into more extension, compared to adduction like in a pull-up. You can put even more emphasis on the lats by having your torso further from the bar during a chin-up. If you're to do a chin-up with your body as close to the bar as possible, your biceps will be more shortened than if your body is further from the bar. That means the biceps are working more than the lats. It's going to feel weird at first and you may not get as many reps, but that's okay because you're placing more of the load on the lats than the biceps. Your back will thank me later. Now, one of the biggest blunders I see in the gym is the overuse of the lat pull-down. You see, lat pull-downs aren't bad. They're actually a great exercise for beginners and intermediates, but you will eventually get to a point where challenging weight on lat pull-downs is heavier than you, and it'll be extremely difficult just to get into position. With pull-ups and chin-ups, you can add as much weight as you need and get into position with ease. Once you can do 10 reps, I recommend adding 20 to 25 pounds. Obviously, you won't get anywhere close to 10 reps, maybe 3 or 5, but from my experience, this will help you progress in your pull-up and chin-up strength faster than chasing more reps. I also like to keep 1 or 2 reps in the tank, as some research has been shown to be more effective for strength than going to failure. Well, if you have any questions about the pull-up or chin-up, leave a comment below and I'll do my best to answer you. Click like and subscribe if you found this video helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.